Hi everyone, and welcome back to Croc at Home Art Lessons. Today we're going to learn about a skill that you can use when you're drawing. It's a skill that's called linear perspective, and what it means is that you can draw things to appear as if they are going back into the distance or forward towards you. Before we get started with this drawing, I would like to show you some examples of what linear perspective looks like, and we'll see some famous artwork and masterpieces that were done during the Renaissance period that use linear perspective. Here is a very famous example of linear perspective in art. It uses lines. This is an example of Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper, and it might be a painting that you've seen before, especially as we come up on Easter time. So what I'd like you to see are the white lines that have been drawn onto the painting. They all seem to focus right behind the head of Jesus. When you look at the ceiling, you'll see that the lines in the ceiling are wide at the beginning and then converge or come together behind Jesus's head. And the same with other lines in the painting. The tops of the windows or doors on the left and right hand side of the painting also do this. This example has been cleaned up a lot because the real painting was done with experimental paint that Leonardo was using at the time, and unfortunately it started to crack and peel soon after he had painted this painting. It's done on a wall in Milan, Italy. It was on a wall of a cafeteria where the monks ate. And as you can see, they didn't really care that much about the painting at the time. They actually put a real door that goes right into the painting so they could get from one room to the other. Here is another famous painting, done by Vincent van Gogh. This was done about 200 years ago, and it is a painting of his own bedroom. As you can see, it appears that you're standing in the back side of the bedroom and looking forward towards the window. The lines that converge go from where you're standing to the window. If you'll notice that the line that goes along the top post of the bed converges, the line that goes above the chair converges, and this bed gets tinier and tinier in those converging lines to make it look as if it's going back into the distance. Now, your eyes and brain do this automatically, but the skill of learning to draw in linear perspective helps you to put that down on paper and show it looking as if things are going back into the distance. Again, look at the lines in this drawing, specifically on the floor. They all converge towards the back of the hallway, and the hallway gets smaller and smaller as they go. If you're in a hallway at your school or another building and look down at the floor, you may be able to see this yourself and recognize it. Here are a few more examples of perspective in drawings, and they're similar to the simple one that we'll be doing today. So let's go ahead and get started with our drawing. What you'll need is a pencil or a marker or a crayon. Pencil works good because you can erase lines with it then. I'm using a marker so that you can see better on the video. You're also going to need some sort of straight edge, and I have a ruler. Ruler works great, but if you don't have a ruler at home, even another piece of paper or a piece of cardboard or a box, something will give you a way to make a nice straight line on the edge on the paper. You also need some sort of paper to draw on, okay? Any color, doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do to make this easy today, so you can understand it a little bit, and the rules that I show you today are very simple rules of perspective. You can do easy drawings with it, or you can start to do more complicated drawings with it. The rules always stay the same. So the first thing I'm going to do is about in the middle of this paper, I'm going to make a horizon line. And that's the line where the earth and the sky come together. So I'll just draw a straight line across my paper, just like that. And that is my horizon line. The next thing I'm going to do is make a dot somewhere on this line. It's easiest if you put it in the middle for beginning, but realize that it can go anywhere. I'm going to put mine a little bit to my left because most of the things I draw are going to be on the right, and that will give me a little more room for them. So there, I put a dot. That dot is called the vanishing point because all of our converging lines, like we saw in the paintings, are going to come together at that point. The next thing I'm going to do is angle my ruler from the dot over here on my paper, and I'm going to make a converging line on each side of the paper. Two lines that start on the bottom of the page and converge towards that vanishing point. What does that look like to you? It probably looks like a road or a river with the two banks on it. So you can see that as it goes back into the distance, it gets skinnier and skinnier, and that's perspective. You may also realize that another way of doing perspective on a drawing is that whenever you draw something that's supposed to be in the distance, you can just make it smaller than the things that are closer to you on the bottom of the page. That's another type of perspective. That's probably the first one that you learn to use. The next thing I want to put in my drawing is a building over here on this side. I think I can start the building anywhere I want, and I can start it by making the side of the building that faces me. So I'm going to draw a straight up and down line, and mine goes above my horizon line and down towards the edge of the road, and I'm just going to make a square rectangle or box. There, I'm drawing a building, and this is the side of the building that is closest to me. If this were done in pencil, I could now erase this line because through the building I really wouldn't be able to see that line. But I can't do that because I have a marker, so I'll just leave it. Now the side that comes towards me, or that I'm viewing, is not going back into the distance. It's right there in front of me flat. But the next side I'm going to draw that I can see on this building does go back into the distance. And because of that, I have to use converging lines. So I'm going to put my ruler down on the corner of this building towards my vanishing point, and I'm going to draw a line as far as I want it to go. If I go all the way back there, I'll probably have a building that's about 100 miles long, and that's probably not something that you'd find very often. So I'm just going to go part way back. I am going to do the same with my upper corner of the building and go back towards that vanishing point. Always line it up on the same vanishing point, that one dot. Now I'm going to make another line that goes straight up and down, just like this corner line, and that can be the corner for this side of the building. Okay, can you see how that building looks like it's going back into the distance right now? Great. If I want to put a door or windows on the building, I could just do a straight rectangle on the side that doesn't go back into the distance, the side that's facing me, and I can draw a door. If I want to do a window on the side that goes away from me, I have to decide and draw a straight line for one side of the window. And from the top corner of that line, I make a line that goes back to the vanishing point. For the bottom corner, I do the same thing. And then where I want that window to end, I'm going to make a straight line up and down. And I get a window that goes back into the distance and a door that doesn't. Okay, we could put more details on this drawing. For example, on the road, we could see where the middle of it is and kind of decide. You can eye it or you can actually measure it out. I'm going to put a dot where I decide that the middle of the road is. And from that dot, I'm going to go back to the dot in the distance. And I will make some lines like the road lines. The first ones are going to be long, and they'll get shorter and shorter as they go back into the distance, because things that go into the distance get smaller. Okay, can you see the lines in the road? Now you could have fun on your drawing and make some things in the background. Maybe I'll make some mountains. And put anything on that drawing that you want to decorate your house or the road or the ground. But this is the very first step in doing a perspective drawing. This perspective drawing is called one-point perspective. We can learn to do two-point perspective where maybe we have two dots and the roads come together in a corner, as an example. So practice this, have fun with it, add some details to it, maybe try to change things around and see if you can start to understand this new skill. I hope you enjoyed it. Have fun drawing. Bye.